Get this figure and more at Lunar Toy Store. Hey, my name is Jobby, and you call this a masterpiece? This is bad comedy. And for those of you who don't know who Starscream is, I have to wonder why you even clicked on a Transformers review. Starscream is the Sky Commander for the Decepticons, and he's constantly trying to take Megatron's position of leader. He's a slimy little bastard and makes for a cute girl. Check out my Facebook and Twitter for more of my artwork. And the Masterpiece Starscream is supposed to be the best toy representation of the G1 character. I mean, that is the conceit of the Transformers Masterpiece line, is it not? But for reasons I will detail in this review, he's not that. But don't get me wrong, it's not like the figure is completely terrible. After all, the painting and the sculpting on this figure is fantastic. The colors are bright and show accurate, the mechanical detailing is precisely sculpted, and the silhouette of the figure is way more cleaner than the original Masterpiece Starscream. I've never owned that figure, but from what I've read and seen, the upper body of this figure is almost identical to the original, and the lower half is obviously heavily modified, and the head sculpt is also new. The head sculpt looks really cool, if a little hard to see on camera. Despite my iPhone's crappy footage, this guy does have a nice pair of red eyes. But I do wish he had some kind of face-changing gimmick. Maybe even some swappable faces like the newer Masterpiece figures. And on the topic of newer Masterpiece figures, I'm happy and excited with the direction that Takara decided to take their toy line, with the release of their Masterpiece Beast Wars figures, the Masterpiece Megatron, and even the upcoming Masterpiece Sunstreaker. It's clear that Takara is attempting to make figures that are as show-accurate as possible. This figure, however, was designed in a darker time. In the early stages of the Masterpiece line, it seems that Takara was going for a more realistic aesthetic with their figures, but they also wanted to be somewhat show accurate. This half and half design aesthetic results in a cool looking robot with a resemblance to the character, but it doesn't quite feel like the character, like how Megatron feels like Megatron. I know my opinion sounds very vague, but I'm making this up as I go along and I'm not exactly a master with words, fuck off. And while I'm on the subject of feel, the figure kind of feels like shit. Most of the plastic on this figure is pretty high quality, but there's some parts that feel disappointingly cheap. Not to mention the figure is disappointingly flimsy. This whole section doesn't plug in, and it makes the figure kind of a chore to handle. I mean, sure, there's a tab here, but it doesn't even matter. The shoulders don't even plug in, and this fucking sucks. I would expect this kind of flimsiness from a Bandai transforming figure, but not from a Takara figure. But hey, at least you got some opening missile pods with crappily painted missiles. But I think I'm done railing this guy for now. Let's talk about some good stuff. The no rays on his arms are beautifully sculpted, and most importantly, they're attached to his arm. On the original figure, they were removable, and you had to remove them for the transformation. Pretty brilliant system they came up with this figure. And a few of his accessories are actually really cool. And here we have his bad comedy mode. If you get the reference, smash that like button. The crown, the shoulder pads, the beautiful cape give this figure so much personality. And for those of you wondering what the hell is going on, this outfit is based on a scene from the only good Transformers movie where Starscream thinks he's taken out Megatron, and he's so pompous that he sets up a coronation for himself. Of course, Megatron's new form, Galvatron, comes in to interrupt his coronation, roast his ass.
Coronation, Starscream. This is bad comedy.
And then murders him. Galvatron also makes for a cute girl. I'm telling you, check out my Facebook and Twitter. I draw a lot. And I should mention this guy comes with a card for those of you who care. I don't. Unfortunately for me, this coronation set does not get in the way of posability. I mean, the cape can move out, rotate, and even spread. The shoulder pads can move up and down so they don't get in the way of arm posability. And let me just strip them so I can get really into it. Ball joint at the head, can't look up that far and look down that far. Wings can move out, rotation at the arm moves out, swivel here. No razor on a ball joint and can rotate out of the way, double bend at the elbow, and that reveals some pretty cool mechanical detailing. Swivel at the wrist, ball joint at the thumb, ball joint at the pointing finger, bend here, and the rest of his fingers are on one ball joint and it can bend. I always hated this hand design and this is no exception. And speaking of hate, this guy's got no waist swivel, which in itself is not a bad thing, but here's two reasons why it's shit. First of all, masterpiece is the key word here, and a figure that calls itself a masterpiece has to have a waist swivel. And second of all, if you extend it, there it is. What the fuck? This doesn't even play into the transformation. It's like it's there to taunt me. Side skirt moves out, rotation at the leg, can barely move back, decent spread, double bend at the knee, pretty good thigh swivel, ball joint at these thrusters, at the foot, and no ankle pivot. The posability on this guy is decent, but does not meet the standard of the Masterpiece line. No waist swivel, no pivot? Masterpiece my ass. And don't give me shit about the limited articulation being justified by the engineering. If goddamn Bumblebee has a waist swivel and an ankle pivot, Starscream should have it too, especially if he cost this much. The size of the figure was underwhelming too, but appropriate for the character. Here's Figma-Matic Academy, SH Monster Arts Godzilla, Masterpiece Optimus Prime, and the Masterpiece Megatron. And with all the faults of this figure, they still look pretty good together. So the robot mode is definitely far from perfect. And I'm not suggesting that every Masterpiece figure has to be perfect, but at the very least, the Masterpiece Transformer should be solid, fun to play with, and have a goddamn waist swivel. Well, at least his transformation is fun. here we have the jet mode. Unlike the robot mode, everything in this mode plugs in solidly. It's sleek and detailed with a bit of kibble but nothing too crazy. The jet mode looks and feels so good that it almost seems like Takara was prioritizing this mode over the robot mode. And that's fucking bullshit. What I'm saying is the jet mode could have been more compromised for a more solid and sleeker robot mode. But I do appreciate the little details, such as the opening cockpit and the fact that he comes with a little hollow pilot. The original figure came with a mini Dr. Arkeville, but who cares about Dr. Arkeville? So instead he get a pilot that looks like a hologram. And the nose cone of the jet can extend and move out the way to reveal this sonar cannon. I think that's what it is. It looks strange, but not bad. This panel on the back can flip up to reveal an air brake. The little flaps on his wings can move up and down. And this bar can flip open to reveal some engines. But of course the engines are actually his heels. That's pretty smart. And in this mode, the figure is pretty long. Marika Godzilla Prime and Megatron. I didn't transform it because that would have taken a year. The jet mode and all its details are fantastic, but all the work and clever engineering that went into this mode should have went to the robot mode. And overall, the figure's good. I'm aware that most of the video was criticism, but I'm so harsh on the figure because it's supposedly a masterpiece transformer. But if you remove that label, the figure is not a bad representation of Starscream, just not masterpiece worthy. I don't hate the figure, I just hate that it's part of the masterpiece line. I would only recommend this figure if you're a masterpiece completionist, and if you really needed the figure, why not get it at the Lunar? I'd still say that Lunar Toy Store's price is too high for this figure, but it's way better than most stores out there. So from what I can tell, this mode is actually really well loved. I mean, if it weren't, Takara would stop reselling it, repainting it, and retooling it. And I think that's unfortunate, because I would love to see Takara do a Masterpiece Starscream 3.0. All I'm saying is this treacherous fuck deserves better. If the Masterpiece Megatron could exist, imagine what Takara could do if they completely scrapped this design and started from the ground up to make a solid, show-accurate, waist swivel, ankle pivot having Starscream figure. It would be amazing and you know it. And if you somehow think this mode is absolutely perfect and cannot be improved, you're either lying or you're stupid.
I'm stupid! I'm stupid!